What's up, everybody? It's Steve. I'm here to let you know that at the end of this episode, we have a very special treat for you. Kit is back from his trip over at Sundance, and he had a hilarious story to tell us that you're not going to want to miss. However, we felt it was necessary to put it at the end of the episode so that we can get into the meat of the Woes Hollow episode that you're about to listen to, because there's a lot to break down in this episode of Severance. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy the show. And with that, happy streaming.
Welcome back. My name is Kit.
And I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, streaming Severance. This time it's episode 4 of season 2, titled Woes Hollow.
Woe is the hollow.
Whoa. And that's right. Kit Laser is back, meine Freundin. I have returned.
Welcome back.
I trust all went well in my absence. I did not listen.
I went
it
about
went
as
really
well as
well.
be expected.
Dude, Erica crushed it.
Erica, for sure. I
filled in
the person I had
shoes to
zero
fill.
doubt in.
Yeah, you definitely doubted the two of us.
What
The
about
other
you
two.
guys? Well, anyway, let's get into Woes Hollow. What we're going to do is, you guys know, we're going to talk about our overall thoughts, go around the room, and then do a scene-by-scene, play-by-play recap of the episode. Talk about some theories. We got some crow to eat potentially on this episode. Then we'll do our Kier's 3 mandates, our 3 favorite moments, and our favorite performance. We'll give the Waffle Party to one lucky recipient. But we're doing Arcane coverage with Madison. Longtime fans of the show will remember our guest host, Madison. So check that out on patreon.com/streaming things. We just finished recording Act 3, the finale of season 1, and we're going to start season 2. Then we got Yellow Jackets and Midnight Mass, all kinds of good stuff coming in the next month or two. But let's talk about the elephant in the room real quick. Before we even get into overall thoughts, I want to address this at the top so I don't forget, because people are probably, they had to listen to that dumbass story and they wanted to see me eat crow. Because there was this whole thing where we got so many emails and messages like, how are you guys not theorizing that Helly is actually Helena Egan? It's obviously the Outie version in The Office, right?
Yeah.
And we said, well, it's not obvious, which I stand by that.
I stand by that as well.
There was other reads, but it is embarrassing that it was in fact that. And you know what I mean? So maybe it was obvious. So that reveal happened in this episode. I was watching it with chagrin because of you guys are going to be mean.
I'm just really glad that they had that reveal this early on, because if it was like a end of season twist, that would have been too predictable, I think.
Well, it's one of those things where like a lot of people were like, that's the obvious read. And again, like the examples that people were at least giving me, I was like, I don't think that's the obvious read. I think that's an obvious, like that's where the story can go, because you already have that relationship with who Helena is and who Helly is. Like, obviously that's something that they could do at any point. But the reads weren't always there for me specifically. And even like someone made a really, it's a really good video. Someone made like this incredibly smart video of like, oh, listen to the elevator tones and how everyone who appears in the Severance floor has a very specific elevator tone to indicate like, oh, the innie's here. Bing, the innie's here. I forget what tone. It's like a B sharp or something. I don't know.
It's like B flat, a G, and then there's a third tone too. But anyway, and they
were using this example to show like, oh, when Helly this season hasn't gotten that yet.
There's no ding when Helly comes down the elevator.
Now, the reason why like I didn't give that specific video too much credence, because it was sent to us a ton of times, was that I went and checked all those instances, and that video's not correct. They edited that ding in a specific scene. I can't remember which one, but I'm like, okay, well, that person edited that ding to make their point. That's not in the show. And then also I looked at a bunch of instances in the show, and the show, at least in the first season, is inconsistent with when they use the dings. So like, I was like, well, that video is not the canonical hardcore proof that it's making itself out to be. Yeah. That's why I kind of like, okay, well, that's a really neat video that someone did a good job on. I remember
I unfortunately wasn't on episode 3 because I was shitting my pants in Utah, but I remember you texting me because we always watch it about 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
And you texted us and said about episode 3, well, there's the first real hint that it's actually Outie Helena, and I forget what even the context was. Do you remember that, or is that how you felt? Did you guys talk about that on episode 3, or?
I think we did.
Which scene?
I don't know. I just remember Steve saying that about the episode as a whole.
I can't remember the specific scene, but I remember we kind of talked about it because I used that as a launching point to say, yes, I've heard that theory that Helena is Helly or Helly is Helena. Please stop messaging me. I get like 10 of those a day.
You were all right. I was wrong to be skeptical. I just wanted to say that.
It's going to be fun to go back and listen to our coverage and listen to us be wrong.
Well, that's the beauty of streaming things. A lot of people love that we theorize completely incorrectly all the time. It's fun to see how dumb we are. Although I will say, and I might get some flack about it, but I'm going to say it right here, right now. I think everyone, I could be wrong. We'll get into it, but I think there's something going on with this specific episode where we can't even trust what's happening on screen. Honestly, we can't trust all of it.
# Steve might be less wrong.
There you go.
I love Steve's unwillingness to bend, because I am famous for being kind of a dick, like being very competitive. People mock me for wanting to win the draft. And, some people even push my buttons and compare me to adolescent girls in a gang fight, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why I would be powder in that particular situation, but I think it's just to rile me up because they know it bothers me. But it's Steve that is you think I'm wrong? You guys don't know this, but one time somebody called Steve wrong in an email, and Steve spent about 6 hours looking through episode timestamps and sent the evidence to Andy and I.
Yeah. If I know I'm not wrong and someone tells me I'm wrong, I will be the petty motherfucker who goes in and it's here's the timestamps. Eat my ass. But here's the thing.
Receipts
in terms of Helena being Helly in the severed floor, I think if that's what is actually happening, totally believable. I think they put up enough breadcrumbs to lead to that conclusion fairly well. I just take umbrage with people who are it's clear as day that's what they're doing. I don't think that's the case. They're much better writers than to show their hands that way. So I think they were being ambiguous enough where it could be either or. Mm-hmm. And then this was the episode that they're just we picked a side on that issue. We're going this route, but I still don't even think they're going. It's not that clear cut as we even think. And
I'm curious to see what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Very curious.
It's hard to tiptoe around because we're going to get into it.
I don't even remember what I said. I'm pretty sure I said if they haven't done it, they probably will, but I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said, that brings us to our overall thoughts. Andy, I'm curious, what was it like in general for you watching Woes Hollow?
Did you guys all think that you had started the wrong episode?
Yes.
Yeah, big time. I started it and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then immediately I was like, no, this can't be right. Backed out of it. I started to text you guys, but then I didn't. Because I was sure that we all had the same experience. Because this episode comes out of fucking nowhere. It's so bizarre, so weird. So it's so uncomfortable too. People are acting different than we're used to them act. And they're in a place that we've never seen them before. And things are creepy. There's some fucking awesome horror sequences throughout this episode. And I love the shit out of that. They're okay, let's do a creepy one, And so, any long running show over time is going to be all right, well, I guess we got to do a Christmas episode or something. You know what I mean? And this felt like one of those times where the showrunners are okay, it's going to be around, this time of the year. It's going to be October. Let's make a Halloween episode. But in this case, they were just
it's February.
Right. But the point being that they played with the theme, you know what I mean? And so they took the concept of woe, one of the tempers, and they're okay, let's do the woe episode. It's going to be creepy and weird. And I'm wondering if we're going to get frolicky ones and stuff in the future.
Just a musical?
Yeah, it'd be fucking awesome. But I thought this episode was bizarre, unsettling, uncomfortable, but awesome.
Here's the thing. I think I might get a lot of flack for this episode or for this, but as of right now, this episode is not my favorite. I actually walked away not enjoying this.
Because you were wrong.
No, it actually has, honestly, it has nothing to do with the Helly spot. In fact, I think the Helly reveal, the last scene is the scene that fucking works. That scene's incredible.
Underwater is so fucking cool.
Yeah, that last scene with Irving and all that, the vibe is there, the tension is there. That scene is immaculate. No notes, you did it, great. It's literally everything else about the episode. And here's the thing. I'm not going to say I don't like this episode. That's just how this is a similar feeling to when we went and saw The Last Jedi for the first time. Like, if you remember when we did that episode years and years ago, we sat down, we did a review, and I was someone that was like, I don't know. That's really challenged me. I don't know how I feel about it, guys. Now, years later, fast forward, I love The Last Jedi. I was able to ruminate on it and marinate on my thoughts. And like, I love that movie now. That's how I'm at with this particular episode. And I think how I feel about this episode is dictated on where they take the story next. If they take the story in a very interesting way that justifies everything we just saw, great, love it. But in a vacuum, as of right now, in this very moment, I don't know how I feel about this episode because, to your point, Andy, it is very weird. It is unsettling. But like, characters aren't acting the way they're supposed to act. And the whole like, oh, is it Helena or is it Helly? This is the most, oh, that's obviously Helena. Like there's no question the entire time she is Helena. And they're not even trying to be sneaky about it. Irv just comes out of seemingly nowhere being incredibly antagonistic and uncharacteristic as well. But even when they're kind of around the campfire, Mark and Dylan aren't really acting in a way that I feel like those characters act. And also, what the fuck happened to the reintegration? This whole episode brings up more questions in a way that's frustrating. It's the worst of Lost. It's the worst things that Lost ever did. Like, I love Lost, but there are some times where you're like, okay, you're doing it too much, and this is bad. It's the worst Lost ever was, and it's the worst Yellow Jackets ever was in terms of characters sort of like having weird whiplashy motivations out of nowhere. And when the episode ended, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? I'm a little worried about it. But then, you know, I was talking to Eric about it because we were kind of like bouncing ideas off the wall. Like, what did this mean? What did that mean? And we really thought about it. And I have a theory for what's happening. And I guess I can say it. Do you want me to say it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Please.
I think there's something going on. So the last time we see Irving, last episode, was with Felicia, right? And he's like, do you know where the testing floor is? And that's the last time we see him. And then this episode opens with Irving waking up on the ice. So I was wondering, oh, did he go looking for the testing floor and did he find it? And now is this some sort of weird, he's on the testing floor and there's weird stuff happening? Or is he being punished in some way? Because like the whole, like the way the episode sort of structured, it just doesn't make sense to me. And
it's very Irving focused.
It's very Irving focused. Like, it seems like, oh, you're making goo-goo eyes at her. And like, it's very like, he can't be with Bert. So he's lashing out uncharacteristically. It seemed very, I don't know. It just seemed not like the show we normally watch. And we don't even get a title sequence that just gets a, you know, things are happening in the background. Like, there's a part where like when they find the TV cart with the Milchek video, that cart's not behind them. And then it suddenly is. In a different shot, and then it's edited like it's a horror movie. There's this new appendix for Kier that never existed before until now. Milchek and Miss Huang disappear at some point so that characters can go off and do things. Irving apparently goes and almost freezes to death, but never actually seems to freeze to death. There's a lot of weird dream-like directing going on. Like, the music and the way some of the shots are flowing in together is very dream sequency. So to me,
some visual cues of this is not actually happening.
Yes. And part of me thinks like the next episode has to justify that, or I think it was a real weird misstep trying to be weird for weird's sake that I'm not a fan of. But again, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you just don't like it because the Helena reveal. Again, that's not the thing. That's not the problem I have with the episode. I think that was great. It's everything else. It's the whole foundation of what the episode's doing.
I like the idea, but I don't know how they would do what you're saying they're doing.
I don't either. It's just, I feel like they just have to have some
because there were some major character pushes here, stuff that the audience was expecting that we've been talking about, that would be undone if it wasn't real, right? And that's a weird pullback.
But it's also a weird pullback from the reintegration of Mark specifically. Like, there's
but they've been doing that. They've been, episode 1 is only Ennies. Episode 2 is only Outies, right? And so episode 3 was some major thing. Let's do this edging thing on week 4. Like, it's kind of more in line with season 2 than I think that you're giving it credit for so far. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I feel like those other instances that you're giving feel.
And also,
like
there was a moment where Mark glitched out.
Yeah.
alluding to the reintegration that was happening and maybe taking time. You know what I mean? So it's not like they completely discounted the reintegration thing. I'm trying to work it out, like, because I like your idea, your vague notion that I think there's a lot of evidence that everything was weird, and this is very strange even for Severance in this episode. But I'm like, but why? Like, okay, say he's on the testing floor and he's just, none of this is actually, or this is like an old version of Irving, because maybe they're clones or something. There's still so many theories out about what's going on. It's like, oh, but there's some other things that are directly related to concerns that we have about these characters that would be so strange to just say that wasn't real, right?
Yeah. Well, also, like Steve said before, we need to give the writers credit. And so they probably would know that people would be theorizing about Helly and stuff. And so if they were to do hey, you were right, we got pulled the rug out from under you. It wasn't that all along, but we acknowledge it in this moment type of episode. The fact that there's no title sequence, I think.
Yeah, that's the most damning evidence.
Yeah, for sure. Like something is off and intentionally so. And like Steve
maybe
said,
it's only because they're not in the office.
Yeah. Irv just doesn't act like Irv.
It could be the situation where everything we see functionally happens in the story, but like next episode, it didn't happen the way we were just shown, if that makes sense. Like, Irving did get kicked out. Helena was revealed by everybody, but it was within the context of
he was just waterboarding her with a coffee pot.
Yeah. Do it, Seth.
That'd be interesting. I like that idea. Like I said, I just haven't completed putting it together. And just to play devil's advocate. So I like this episode. It was very confusing and jarring at first. I didn't think I watched the wrong one because I watch it last. And so I've already seen that you guys have watched it and I have to rewind it. Right. So it's like, that's not a thing I can think unless somebody's a dick and watched all of episode 7 or something. But I was like, my first note is Irving is dressed like a fucking Serbian on a frozen lake. Like I was very, because like we've never seen any of them outside except for 4 minutes in the finale of season 1.
Yeah.
And definitely not in a setting like this. So that's the thing I would say. I don't know that they're all acting as strangely like Irving we have seen get shitty. We know that that's in him, right? And he listens to Motorhead all the time. You smug motherfucker. Like he has that ability. We know that he's very distraught. He almost killed himself in one of the last episodes. He's watching Helena and Mark interact. He's jealous because he misses Bert. They're all in this extremely different setting so they're going to act slightly different because they've never been in Serbia. So I don't know that I'm completely buying that they're all acting just completely foreign to how their characters would act. There's a weird scene where Mark is pretty silly. And he's like laughing at every joke Helena makes and like in a way that's like, or is he high? You know? But it's like, he is goo-gooing, like he's horny and he's like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like you and your crush are sitting next to a campfire and like, you know that you're going to get to stay alive long enough to actually sleep this time. Oh shit. Like,
that's true. They've never slept before.
No.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. That is weird. Even the idea of like, hey, everybody, we're going on this 2-day retreat your Outies approved of. And it's like, would they? It's weird. I don't know. There's a lot of logistical stuff like that. That is like, how did they logistically get them there and approve all this? That seems really weird. I don't know. And like, I feel like snowy white wilderness that they wake up in is very evocative, like a metaphorical blank stream of consciousness, that type of thing, like a void. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of weird dream sequency vibes from this specific
I'm with
episode.
you, man. I'm just playing like how we were like, that's not the only read is all we're saying.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just doing that.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But I do think that you're pointing out that there was no title sequence, which I didn't notice, is like, ooh, what's that about?
It's just it's the Severance logo in the clouds is all we get.
If everything
was Keanu Reeves anywhere, Andy?
Actually, no.
Okay.
What about
if
Sarah
everything
Sherman?
actually happens as they present it, then the logistics of it are weird. Where they're like, all right, Irving, go stand out in the middle of the lake. Mark, you go stand up on this cliff.
We'll turn you on.
Dylan,
The other
you're
two?
in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, and then they're like, ready, go. And
It'd be really cool.
It's just bizarre.
Well, these aren't good people
Yeah.
in charge of these folks, right?
Milchek literally gaslights them. It's the tallest waterfall in the world.
I love that.
I laughed so hard. It's such a good touch. I'm so dumb and untraveled. At first, I was like,
Is it?
Wait a second.
I thought waterfalls were bigger than that. It's the biggest one.
What about the one in by Canada, up there by New York? What's that one called? Niagara? Yeah. What about that one? It's got to be bigger than that.
Checkmate, Milchek.
Checkmate, Milchek. But I mean, again, we're waxing way too long on the overall thoughts, but I've just been brooding a lot on what's actually going on here. And we're getting more and more revealed because we got that little tidbit of Cold Harbor being like Miss Casey and her brain. And now we know about the 5 brain waves. And so maybe the 5 buckets are actually the different brain waves. Mm-hmm. And we know that they're somewhat related to the 4 tempers, and the scary numbers are the woe numbers, and they're trying to balance those tempers. And maybe even like why people like Milchek are so weird is because they've been quote unquote balanced by macro data. And so they don't experience emotions in the same way. They're kind of like automatons because they've had their shit tweaked. Or maybe it's all just a metaphor for cults, and who knows? But I'm really cooking on what's really going on here. Mm-hmm, and I think it's fascinating. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, we're done with overall thoughts. We're ready to get into the nitty gritty of the recap. But first, we're going to take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors. This episode of Streaming Things is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's time for a new year, new me. That's what everybody says, right? What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled. You are the writer. And so maybe this year you're ready for a plot twist, a Shyamalan twist. Maybe there's a part of your story you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. We know the gyms are crowded in January and they're pretty much open by March. Let's not be that person. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. So think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you write new chapters and create meaningful stories you deserve to live. When I talk to somebody about my wants, my fears, my hopes, my dreams, my traumas, I feel like I can get clarity on my goals, what it is I'm actually trying to achieve. So give BetterHelp a try. If you've never tried therapy before, it's a really great start to this journey. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. There's a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. You can easily switch therapists at any time and at no extra cost if things aren't working out. So write your own story with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings. And we're back. We're ready for the recap. But first, let's read what Apple TV has to say about what Woes Hollow is about. They're always illuminating these synopses.
Quite.
Episode 4 of Season 2 is described thusly. The team traverses unfamiliar terrain. Mark and Helly explore their feelings. Irving harbors a growing distrust of a friend. 3 sentences. That's the first.
Actually accurate. They say some shit.
They must have hired a new guy.
Yeah. He was like, you guys need a little bit. It can't be this vague.
Things happen.
What was that last week? It was like, Mark and Helly visit a familiar haunt.
Yeah.
Outie Mark tries new things.
When you read it, it sounds like Rickon.
Maybe Rickon writes these.
Yeah, could be.
Which, by the way, if you guys listened to or read the UUR, they released the first 8 chapters of Rickon's.
I didn't. I just heard about this, and I still haven't read the Lexington letter.
Oh my gosh! I've only read like the first 2 chapters of the UUR, but I highly recommend you seek it out. I couldn't listen to the audio version because they have the actual actor doing a read of it, so you can listen to it on audiobook as well. And I suggest that as well because you get his amazing delivery. But it's so fucking funny. But we get it's actually really cool. So far, again, I'm only 2 episodes in, but there's a little bit more information about Gemma's death in there, where her car hit an icy patch of road, and that's what caused her to crash. That's in his book. So it's like adding more to the story of Severance. It's actually, it's not just this fun little side quest you can go on. There's actually some real information in there.
You guys thought about this whole car crash thing a lot more, like what might be going on with a lot of cars and car crashes. Going on here. You ever notice that?
There are, yeah. There was
like Gemma's car crash, the Lexington letter, that lady died from a car crash.
Or car crash, excuse me.
Car bomb, geez.
Yeah, well, Erica's talking about a car bomb last week.
She was part of the IRA or whatever it's like. IRA. And then Huang being a crossing guard is like a little, maybe nothing, but
yeah, there are cars involved there.
Interesting. But
Wait,
yes,
what is a crossing guard?
someone who pauses traffic to let people walk and
Usually
stuff.
for like schools.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Do they let children do that?
I've
At like
never
a real
I've
crossing?
never seen a child crossing
That seems
guard, personally.
That seems like the opposite of what's supposed to be going on.
You kid, let's stand out there in traffic.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Let the child do it.
Don't be distracted by the Pokestops. This is she's dead.
Man. We gotta move that thing.
The Pokestop.
Yeah. Too many kids have died.
It's in the middle of the
How many
road.
is acceptable?
It's in the middle of the road. I'm just trying to get Pokeballs.
Listen, we all like doing raids while we're at work, but how many kids are gonna have to die?
Team Yellow.
Any hoozle. Okay. Irving, we get the elevator ding. That's how the episode starts. This episode, as we discussed at great length, is very Irving focused. It's strange. She's dressed like a fucking Serbian on a frozen lake. Mark's up on the cliff. Maybe get off the ice. A lot of the comedy in this episode, I really like the horror elements, but the jokes land hard for me. I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, this opening bit where he's like, Mark, are you up there? What are we doing? I have no fucking idea.
Love that delivery.
I'm on the ice. Maybe get off of it.
Okay. He climbs up the path. He runs into an also confused Helly. And then Dylan walks out. And
Holy shit, outside.
out fucking side.
I knew there were no actual ceilings, but this is insane.
Yeah, look
like,
at the sky.
how, like that's a fun thing to think about. This is the first time he's seen an outside.
Yeah, it's wild. And then there's like that TV cart. It's playing the Kier anthem tune, like Kier chosen one. Yeah.
And it's not there because I went back and looked because it's not behind them initially, and then they go and see Dylan arrive.
Could you see
And
that
then
spot though?
Yeah, you could.
It's not an angle thing.
No, it's definitely behind them on that cliffside. You see that before Dylan shows up. It's not there, but then after Dylan shows up, boop, it's just there and on. And
So it's not real.
that's what I'm thinking.
That or somebody wheeled it out real sneaky.
Miss Huang's like, and
Are
runs
either
away.
of you
she's sneaky.
rest in
She's
peace?
sneaky.
Rest in peace to the legend David Lynch. But are either of you fans or familiar with Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks is a major blind spot for me.
Me as well.
I've never
I've
seen
never
it.
been super into Lynchian filmmaking, but I'm growing as a person. And I love Blue Velvet. I did. I mean that sincerely. Like I haven't watched like Mulholland Drive or Eraserhead since I was a teenager, and I wrote it off back then. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm old enough now.
I've never liked David Lynch's stuff, but I hear that Twin Peaks is incredible.
But somebody said in
so
my,
influential.
I love their chicken wings.
somebody said this is the Twin Peaks of our times, and good restaurant. And I've never been, and that's what makes me think about episodes like this in a different kind of way, where it's like just getting weird, man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you're right. Maybe it didn't really happen, but the TV's there, and it's Milchick saying that this is an outdoor retreat and team building occurrence, or an Ortbo.
Ortbo.
And they are at the Dieter Egan National Forest.
I love how they're like, who the fuck is Dieter Egan? And then it cuts back to the video. You might be wondering who Dieter Egan is.
So good. And so he says, there is a truth in the fourth appendix that I want to share with you. And apparently
Text of such sanctity is forbidden on the severed floor.
in Scissor Cave is where Kier
Scissor Cave.
actually tamed the four tempers.
Mm-hmm.
Scissor Cave is a place that men typically aren't allowed to go.
Sounds hot.
And
They do that. They cut to the wide and Irving's like, Scissor Cave.
but I love like the 80s music. It made it
It's
seem
synthy.
like, yeah, it was like, what's that game called? Gauntlet Legends of the,
Yeah. It's
is it just called Gauntlet? Yeah, it's kind of like Gauntlet or something. Like immediately when the music kicked up, I was like, a quest, which I think is very much intentional.
But they also film Milchek in that scene to be very like 80s horror villainess because it's got that like brrr, that deep bassy synth. And
Yes.
it's like, you'll go to Scissor Cave and try not to die. Like that's just the vibe.
Where Kier tamed the four tempers
We've
for the
been-
first time.
We've been waxing and waning about whether that's not how that works, about how whether or not any of this is actually real. And none of us have mentioned the clones and stuff or the lookalikes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's another big, like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, the clone thing,
they're all from far away, so maybe they're just lookalikes.
They are lookalikes.
Yeah.
Because Milkshake says, like, we provided you the lookalikes. And then when you see the Dylan one specifically, that's not Dylan. Like,
that's true.
So yeah, I think these are, if this is indeed supposed to actually be happening, I think they're heavily implying that these are paid extras that are just like, oh, stand out there and not appropriate outdoor wear.
Maybe they got long underwear.
Maybe.
I love that. So there's something that looks like Mark and they're confused. And then Irving says, I don't trust a word that comes out of that mountebank's mouth.
Not even televisually.
Not even televisually. Which, by the way, a mountebank is defined as a person who deceives others, especially in order to trick them out of their money. A charlatan.
Okay.
I want to start calling people like the Chick-fil-A people.
You mountebank?
No, I don't want to upcharge for a milkshake, you mountebank.
Yeah.
That's how you talk to those motherfuckers.
My pleasure.
And then, so they hike along and there's like this 60s kind of noir tune to the score. And it's not the first time something like that is kicked up, but I noticed it specifically here. Yeah,
the song specifically was what I was sort of like, the song mixed with the crossfading of like the sky and then walking on a trail. It was very dreamlike in the way it was.
They take their time with this too. There's a lot of like, let's film this icicle. Let's film this milty.
Yeah, but those frozen tree branches are cool.
It is.
They are cool. Yeah. I mean, when you're out there I assume they're out in an actual frozen park filming some of this stuff.
Yeah, get some good footage.
I mean, and you see icicles like that. Hell yeah, shoot that shit.
And you hear like Sauron back in Isengard, and like the snow picks up. Yeah, exactly.
This will be the death of the hobbits.
And it was like, that's weird.
And then Legolas is just like on top of the snow. Like, what are you guys struggling for?
Carissa's finally watching Lord of the Rings and she's really into it. And it's so funny. She's watching the extended editions.
Hell yeah. Nice. It's the only one to watch.
But she's asking questions and I'm like, you're not ready for this. Just stop. You know what I mean?
Questions like what?
She said something like it was the Fly You Fools scene, and she's one of those
people.
Like,
was that a dragonfly or a moth?
She's one of those people that won't pause it. She'll just start asking stuff. Like, it's like, what are you even doing? What's even the point of this? But and she's like, I thought he was like this super powerful wizard, and he's just like, and I'm like, okay, all right. So there's these things called Maiar, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you want me to do this?
Yeah.
He's not even human, okay? And you would know this if you were smart, okay? But I love that she's finally watching Lord of the Rings. I mean, she's like, I've turned on the extended edition. Is that good? Is that okay? I was like, yes, that's the only way.
It's the only way to watch them. She's
really into it, but it's like what happened to Tom Bombadil? And I'm like, babe,
you're not ready.
You're not. What's up with Bombadil? But now there's a Helly down in the valley.
Did you notice that the Helly extra is always got her neck to the side as if she is a hanged victim?
Oh, I did not.
Like the Helly one specifically always has her head tilted to the one side. And even when she does the point, she does like hand on hip point. But I got bad posture.
It's over there.
Yeah, it's just creepy. I love it. I'm here for it.
And yep, they're hiking along. They find the fourth appendix in the cave under this little light in Scissor Cave.
For
Dita. And then we find out that Dieter was Kier's twin. And the two twins went to Woe's Hollow. Because he wanted to live as a pauper in the forest, a forest pauper.
Forest pauper, yeah. And they are to walk in the brother's footsteps.
And so I thought I misheard this or misunderstood it because I'm a little bit of a weirdo, you know? Okay. So when they said he spilt his lineage upon the ground.
Oh, yeah. My note just says, huh?
Yeah, I went, wait, what? And I was like, don't make this weird, Kit. And then later,
you're right.
Helly was like, he jerked off. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, I'm not... Maybe I'm normal.
Because they read that little bit and it's like, he always crept like this at this hour. Once concealed by Flora, my brother unfastened himself. The din of his fervor fell strangely into concert with the music of the woods. And for a moment, I could not tell the two apart. His every thrust found rhythm with the trill of the crickets, the moaning of the wind and the snowfall's yearly thaw. Dita became on that night an instrument of nature. And nature...
Sorry, I'm
nature.
I'm just picturing.
And nature played Tito with such elegance.
So was he like fucking the ground?
I think so, man, because he's thrusting.
Oh, I don't know if he was fucking a ground. I think he's just like, he went into the woods and was jerking off, and Kier found his brother jerking off. And then wrote a poem about it.
Yeah. And watched. He spilt his lineage
upon the soil.
Well,
we've all spilt our lineage into socks at some point.
on the soil, though. That's wild. And then they see Dummy Dylan pointing, like the proto Dylan, whatever it is.
Dummy Dylan.
Mark asks Helly.
Oh, good. Now there's a me one.
If she's okay. And Irv's like watching them talk. He looks suspicious and jealous and all kinds of emotions. There's a great transition panning across a tree where it comes to the next scene. Mm-hmm. And then Irv asks Mark what he and Helly were talking about. And I don't trust her, Mark. Oh, shit.
She's lying.
Yeah. But then they see like a dead seal or something.
Well, I'm glad that he brings specifically the thing that's keying him up that she's lying is the night gardener thing. Because we kind of made fun of it in the first episode.
Irv called attention to it at the time.
Yeah, he did. And I like how that's the thing that kind of has stuck into his brain.
A night gardener?
I wish someone would have at some point in this episode, because specifically Mark or Helly, I wish one of them specifically would have been like, well, what did you see, dude? Because Irving never told them what he saw. He only told Dylan, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but anyway, he doesn't trust her, and he's worried that Mark is not being objective because of his feelings for her,
because of his goo eyes.
The night gardener thing, though, it's like it's a small thing, and I don't care at all. But I do sometimes wonder what reference points the Ennies do have for the outside world, because it's like, on the one hand, you have stuff like, that's the sky? Yeah. I knew it wasn't a ceiling, but geez. And then you're like, people don't garden at night. Like, motherfucker, how do you know? You don't even know what a sky is. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
In the Kier text, they always garden during the day.
maybe that's all it is.
That was actually a big contender for why I was kind of so hesitant at first to be like, oh, that's Helena's down on the floor, because it was the night gardener thing. Because my thought was like, if Helena's going to go undercover, you would think they would have a much better corporate, like, oh, they're going to ask you what you saw.
Yeah.
You tell them this, not like just wing it and say night gardener.
Totally.
That's why, like, in that moment, it read to me more like Helly not wanting to talk about what she learned. Yeah. That was a big reason for me.
Wait, what does she say is on her shirt? Is it
Save the Gorillas?
Is it Save Gorillas?
Or something like that?
I just want to make sure it wasn't Save the Seals, because they're about to run into a dead seal.
Yeah, I guess it's a seal.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? And Irving goes, we should eat it.
We should eat it. We don't know where we are.
Oh, Mark says maybe this is what dead things look like.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Yeah.
This is what dead things look like. But they argue. Mostly it's Irving that's upset because he's put off by the whole Helly thing, and also Bert, and also he just seems the most.
Yeah, he's like super upset about this seal thing, and he's like, we got to eat it. There's not going to be any food at the top of the hill that they're going toward.
And I think it's Dylan that's like, hey, they can't let us.
Yeah, they can't let us die. And he's like, you don't know anything about that. It's real upset about it.
And this was the line where I thought that Irv was acting most unlike himself. When Mark says, we all know you had a bad experience outside. And then he turns on Dylan and he goes, what did you say to him, dumbass? And I'm like, whoa, Irv.
Dumbass isn't a word that I feel like Irv would use.
Yeah.
It would be more like, what did you tell them, you rapscallion?
Yeah. What about motherfucker? We've seen him do this before. I'm just saying there is precedent. Precedent. Mm-hmm. There also is president.
There is.
But he's being very mean to Dylan. And he knows he's his favorite perk.
He is. He is.
I did do some research. I did some digging, because the seal thing was like, this is some lost polar bear shit. What the fuck is this about? But I did do some digging into the seal, and in Celtic mythology, there are things called selkies, and selkies, I guess, are Celtic mermaids. But unlike mermaids, they can actually like either be a seal or be a human. They can shapeshift between the two, and symbolically, they're supposed to mean like humans have a mischievous side, because the seal side is like mischievous. And so, like, if you see a dead seal in Celtic mythology, it could symbolize a severed connection between one's two identities or loss of personal magic.
So, wow. They said severed in there. I heard that. Dang.
Oh, well, I also know a lot about Selkies because I watch cartoon saloon movies. So shout out Song of the Sea.
Shout out to that. Yeah, seals represent transformation.
You dirty stealer. Interesting. They get to the hollow. The four twins wait there all together. Milchick shows up. He's wearing all white, and they're all wearing their like black with the cool. I don't know what those hats are called, but they're cool. This is the tallest waterfall on the planet. It's like 17 feet.
You stand on sacred earth.
They're all like, whoa.
But Irving's immediately like, we're really hungry, man. It's been an afternoon. Can we please have some food? And he goes like, I thought the waterfall's grandeur would satiate you.
I'm just fucking with you.
Psych. We got a little luxury meats up there.
Yeah. Milchick takes them to this like little clearing with a bunch of blue tents, which is like MDR blue. And Miss Huang has already been readying the grill. And I've got 4-ply washroom tissue. Now 4-ply, that's some good shit.
That is good shit.
I kind of wanted to take a poop there. I'm not going to lie.
Copious luxury meats.
Copious luxury meats and a torch. They've never seen fire before.
I love this, like torches for lights, for a light source and a heat source. Like
I know that's what I mean. Like there's
beautiful.
There's a weird juxtaposition between things like here is fire and people don't garden at night. I can't get over this.
What the fuck is a gardener? You know?
Exactly. It's a weird thing to reconcile. But Helly made Irving a snow seal. I made you a snow seal. And that's when
just
he's
in case you got hungry.
Oh, nice. What did you really see during the OTC? And he tries to be kind to her, like, it's okay. It won't change anything. And there's a beat where you think, if you're me and you're convinced that it is Helly, that she's going to come clean to him in that moment. Mm-hmm. But she sticks with it. And then, okay, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see her like face change.
Yeah.
It's like Irving. And he persists, and the face change is good. God, she's a good actress, man.
Yeah, man.
She
Britt
is.
Lauer.
I do think, again, like I think she's very much playing a Helena. She's playing Helena in this entire season or series. This entire episode. And another small thing I noticed in this episode, and I don't know if it's just the way they lit the scenes or they were doing the color grading for this particular episode.
Her hair
outside, her hair's brunette. Like there's like no hint of red in some of these scenes. And so already almost visually, they're telling you like, this isn't Helly at all because she's got a different hairstyle and she's acting very Helena in this episode as well.
Yeah, they all have like subtle micro changes in the way that they act as Outies, which we don't see most of them as Outies very often. But like apparently Adam Scott wears a posture adjuster when he is any mark.
Oh, really?
Like one of those things that makes your back super straight. And he did that all on his own. Like he told Ben about it, but it was something he decided to do. Mm-hmm. So if you ever noticed Outie Mark kind of slouches, and that's because that's Adam Scott's real posture. And then the rigid stuff is because he's got one of those back straighteners on. And so then we get Huang playing a theremin.
I fucking love it,
which is amazing.
Fuck yeah, let's
She's
go.
Fucking talented with that thing too, man. She's playing real music.
Prodigy. And she was like, he's telling the story, but she's like playing the notes to like accentuate whatever he's doing. Like she on the fly, that's skill, man.
Yeah. Milchick's reading Appendix 4 and he talks about, whoa, the gaunt bride. I love some of these lines are so funny to me. Now he's no one's brother, only Chaos's whore. I'm Chaos's whore. And the next chapter is
a little bit where he's like, when because he tells a story about how his he's like, brother, we have to go back to the ether factory. I'll look after you. And his brother's like, eye popped out and pus was coming out of his head became moss. And so he's like, all I could do was go to the waterfall to drown out my brother's cries.
It's actually pretty smart.
I've seen A Quiet Place. I know how that works.
I love when he's like, there he encountered woe, and then he holds out the picture in the book and shows it to everybody.
It's scary. But the next chapter is Kier and the thieving nanny. But Irving's like, asks if it's real. And then Helly, strangely Helly of all people, laughs, right? Mm-hmm. It's a strange thing for Helena to do. So okay, motherfuckers, if this is real, Helena, that would be contrived that she would laugh at that part and start that argument that would cause Milchick to burn their marshmallows and storm off, right?
Well, I think that they wrote this specifically for them. I don't think that, and I think that she's laughing at the absurdity of it because she's like, one of the leaders of the cult, you know what I mean? So she's like, this is what you guys came up with, that he fucking jerks off and dies. Like,
oh, you think it's sincere that she's hearing it for the first time?
Yeah.
And she's fucking up but then what about Milchick's reaction? Because he punishes her. He's like, if you're not going to take this seriously.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's just all kind of strange in that context. But yeah, he melted because he masturbated, you know.
He said it.
And then he gets upset and tells
Miss
Miss Wong,
the marshmallows.
throw them in the fire.
We often laugh at what we don't understand. The team I thought I knew would have processed this more thoughtfully.
Which, by the way,
Would they have?
it's not even s'mores. It's just marshmallows. They've already had copious luxury meats. I'm not that sad about the marshmallows, you know?
Can I just throw it out there? Those
Sure.
marshmallows did look fucking awesome.
Well, the
They're
square
like,
ones?
They're like perfectly square and they're huge. They've got like a blue Kier face
Well,
stamped
just
on
grab a
them.
couple off the top out of the fire, stab them with a stick and eat them. That's,
Yeah, they're even
that's what you
better
do.
that way.
Yeah, that's what you do with marshmallows.
It's
How is that
so
even ruining them?
It's so funny how
Miss Wong, take the meat,
upset everyone is
throw it
about
on the grill. Like, okay, thank you. I don't know.
Make it well done.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh,
that
Mr.
is
Milchak.
That's fucked up.
But no, it's so
Andy
funny
just-
how
You would
offended
never
everyone
Shivered.
is.
Yeah, they're all bummed about the marshmallows for sure.
They keep coming to like Dylan. And he's like, why?
Marshmallows are team players, Dylan.
Even Miss
They don't
Huang
just
seemed
hand them
upset.
out.
She like hesitated. She's like, I really wanted that.
Yeah, marshmallows though.
That was really
Can I
dope.
keep one of them? But then Irving's upset. When Milchick leaves, it's not funny. And stop making goo eyes at her. Goo eyes? And then he says, just tell us, Helly, about the night gardener.
Did he have a flashlight?
Mark, are you over there using your pupils to make love to her while your Outie's wife rots away?
Dang.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. And then Dylan's like, yo, what the fuck, man? And it's 3 against 1 now.
And then Helly says, oh, he's just upset because he can't see Bert again.
He's really lonely.
And then he storms off with a torch. Fuck you all.
Mm-hmm.
Mark goes to Helly's tent, which is wild. Because he's like, probably a carrot, which is Dieter's penis. He's like referencing that. But then when he zips himself inside, I was like, oh, shit. What a power move. You know? The gall. This guy is like, I get it though. What other chance is he ever going to have? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Got to go for it.
Made his move.
Yeah, she says like she shouldn't have said that.
That was
to
mean
Irving.
of me.
That was mean, and he's like, he kind of deserved it. 'Cause she says that that was cruel, and not to be like a Helena defender here, but Irving was also being very cruel and mean. Like, so it's kind of like, yeah, if she was Helly the way everyone else believes she's Helly, that would be the real. Like, no, he deserved it, girl.
Yeah,
like,
this is a
prick.
This is a woman that would storm into the office threatening to chop her own fingers off when she feels like she's being fucked with, right? And then later in the episode, it's like, Helly would never be cruel. I'm like, I'm not putting that together. You know what I mean? I disagree.
You don't know her that well.
She hung herself in the elevator so that the other Helly would experience the hanging.
She often said cruel things to Mark before she warmed up to him, you know, when she thought Mark was the villain, right?
Yeah. But she does say, sorry if I'm distracting you from looking for your wife. And honestly, this felt like more like, oh, that's Helena than anything else that had happened so far in this episode to me. Because that was a very like fishing for the, oh, it's cool. I'm with you now. You know, kind of, I don't know. It just felt manipulative. But then they kiss, they lose clothes, and there's a kind of an intercutting. Irving hikes alone. And what a transition back to the lovemaking. It was like this Francis Ford Coppola, Bram Stoker's Dracula shot. You know,
about the red hands.
Yeah, where it like was superimposed. It looked like film. How they, I don't remember how they used to do it, but when they had real film,
Yeah, they would splice it.
when they would lay them on top of each other to make that effect, that's what it looked like. It was so beautiful. And Irving's out there like shouting for Milchick now because I guess he's lost. And he's starting to panic. He falls and his torch goes out and you can like hear them fucking as he's like crawling around lost and alone. It's a very interesting scene.
Yeah, I was actually, again, because when I rewatched this a second time, I was trying to like, okay, is there like hints that this could be like all a dream or something to the effect? And the fact that he's like, oh, I almost froze to death. I almost died, but he never looks like he's in any real peril other than he's just outside.
He doesn't have his hat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did. Yeah, it's true. He doesn't.
And
have
it's
his
very
hat.
cold.
It's very cold. But no, like the way they keep cutting specifically, like their relationship has gotten into his mind. That seems to be why he's kind of sort of lashed out. Is like, you're making goo eyes, blah, blah, blah. So when he's like running away, we keep looking back at them having sex, but they're in front of a heater.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, he's being warmed by something. I don't know. It's like this weird visual.
I was actually
Cue
concerned
type
about
thing.
that space heater.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
real
'cause
close to the tops of their head.
Yeah. And like any kind of cowgirl worth her salt is going to move the bottom guy a couple inches north from the thrust.
Sure.
Over
You know what I'm
time,
saying? Yeah. Unless she's
work
just,
your way up the bed.
if she's bouncing on it crazy style at all,
Crazy.
crazy style. You know what I'm saying?
But if they're on the ground, it wouldn't shift as much as like a bed, right?
I'm telling you, buddy, if I'm involved, it's shifting.
Oh, if you're the top, if you're the cowgirl.
Either way. Either way. You don't just stay stationary. They're way too close to that space heater. Andy gets it.
No, I agree. Like their hair is going to get like singed. It's going to smell bad. In the
I was
tent.
I was like, whoa. You can't be that close to this. But I wouldn't even want to be. You know, you're working up a sweat and that
hot.
thing's just baking you right there. Come on, man. You guys are, I mean, they are amateurs for sure. Yeah, they're just going to Pound Town in the tent, pitching a tent metaphorically. See what I'm saying? So then Helly kind of has this post-nut clarity, you think. Maybe she's going to come clean to Mark now. They keep kind of teasing you with this.
I didn't like who I was on the outside.
I was ashamed. And I wrote, oh, shit. And she's about to say, like, okay. And then he goes, I don't care who you are out there. It only matters who you are in here. And that seems to satisfy her. And it's like, fuck, we were almost there, right? But then Mark has that, like, glitch.
He sees Gemma on her face,
Yeah.
or Miss Casey to his perspective.
And then Irving wakes in a suit instead of his, like, little Serbian winter outfit. And the forest now looks burnt out and apocalyptic.
Yeah,
So it's a dream within a dream.
I guess we're getting to the second layer of Inception.
we have to go deeper.
Ken Watanabe is down there. And he sees the cubicles in the burnt forest where they work. And there's moths. I don't want to get made fun of by Steve, who always mocks my insect
tell
knowledge.
if they were moths or flies.
They're not flies because there's no buzzing, is what I was thinking.
Yeah,
They look
that's
like moths.
Yeah,
The moths on the computer, and Bert looking sexy as hell pulls that.
it's got that Christopher Walken
like,
smile. Like, what's
wow.
up, girl?
Whoa.
Whoa.
I get it. Whoa.
Meet me later in the bathroom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
WOE. Then we see, whoa.
Whoa.
The personified
she's
whoa
so
is
fucking
there.
creepy, dude.
Dude, that was good.
It was good.
The numbers and letters start to swirl, and there's a jump scare.
This sequence is really, really great. We get a lot of information because, as we know,
Do we?
Yeah. As we know, Outie Bert is trying to send messages to Any Bert. And so far, we've seen that manifested when Any Irving kind of naps or like drifts off to sleep. He saw like the black paint and all that stuff. I think this is the same thing because when he looks at his computer screen, funny enough, the file that he's working on is the Montauk file. So not Cold Harbor, but he's working on Montauk.
As in like the Stranger Things programs?
Maybe. So Montauk, I tried to do some...
Eternal Sunshine. Meet me in Montauk.
Yeah.
so that's New York, right?
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah, so Montauk is a village on the east end of Long Island. It has a lighthouse. It has a lot of historical documents in the lighthouse, but also there's a military base, including a radar tower, which is kind of interesting to point
Like
out.
the sound of radar.
But also when so the numbers start moving and we only see the numbers 1, 4, and 5 for a while. So I don't know the meaning of why
That's
those
the
are numbers.
pentatonic major scale?
1, 4, 5, 7. 1, 4, 5, 7. Those are the numbers. Sorry, I forgot 7 before.
Well, that would be with the seventh.
But then the numbers change to where now the letters E, A, G, and N appear. Just
Egan.
going on. So that's how I assume he got the information that she's an Egan is because of this.
Ah, because he does say
This
she's
dream.
an Egan. And it was
Yeah.
like very like, whoa.
Well, how did he figure that out? I think it's because now they never.
Any and outie, slipping info.
Yeah. And so the letters never actually form the word Egan, but it's those letters that are flying around. So I think that's why.
Good digging,
figured it out.
Steve.
Wait. So how are you suggesting that this information is being sent to him?
We don't know, but other than that, it came probably from his outie.
Yeah. Because we already know that Outie Irving is trying to send messages to his Any, and we've seen that manifested in Irving dreaming in the last season.
Yeah.
And when he kind of started to fall asleep and dream, he had his outside world slipping in. And so this is the same thing. He's falling asleep and his outside world is slipping in. And that's where he gets this message of the Egan thing.
So do we know yet who he was talking to on the phone? He was like, and he got the message.
Outie Irving?
Yeah.
I don't think we know for sure. We had sort of guessed that we just kind of assumed it was Regabi, but we don't know for sure.
And then Bert was in the car watching his ass.
Yeah.
Like,
Look at that.
Shit. Get your ass.
Yeah, then he wakes for real and rushes out. Mark wakes alone, calls out for Helly. Only Dylan is there. Milchick's gone, but Milchick does run up and what's going on, right? Helly and Irv are missing. That's Mark's voice.
That's great. Now do Outie Mark saying that.
Helly and Irv are missing.
Nailed it.
Helly is in Woe's Hollow. Irv is also there. What do you think Helly's doing in Woe's Hollow, real quick? We don't know.
She's just like sitting there taking it all in.
I just had sex.
Yeah.
Plus, Milchick's getting me nachos. Best day of my life.
I really wanted to take in this really large waterfall. Apparently, it's the biggest one on the planet.
And then Irv says, "Hey, kid," and he says that she was cruel last night. Helly was never cruel. If you're not her, then who are you?
Who would have the power to send their Outie to the severed floor?
And he grabs her. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention this. This is huge. We should pause for 1 second. If that was Helena and she had sex with Mark,
yeah.
that's some sexual assault.
Oh, for sure.
She was impersonating someone else, right? That would be like if Steve had a twin brother named Stu and Stu fucked me and I thought I was just fucking Steve. And I was like, this is fine.
But
That's
Stu's
weird.
such a nice guy.
He would never do that. But
He would never do that.
I'm just saying if he did, that would be weird.
That would be weird. It's like, wasn't that whole debate from like Wonder Woman 1984?
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
I never saw that movie. I heard it was so bad.
Well, she basically sexually assaults in this way.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's a very kind of similar scenario.
She has her boyfriend inhabit someone else's body and then she fucks him. So it's like, not cool for that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
He got an STD. He doesn't even remember it.
yeah, what's going on here? But yeah. So he grabs her. They all run to the sounds of screaming because he's yelling for Milchick now that he's holding Helly.
Milchick.
He's got a plan now that we don't get to see for a second.
She's an Outie.
She's an
She's a
Outie.
fucking mole.
It's such a good line.
I'm gonna kill her.
I love John Turturro. I feel so vindicated for always thinking Irving was the best character because like the storyline has gotten like wild around Irving specifically, you know?
Yeah.
But he starts fucking drowning her. She's a fucking mole. She's an Egan. And I'm like, whoa. And then eventually when he pulls Helly up one of the waterboarding times, she goes, God damn it, Seth, do it. And he's like, yes, Seth, do it, Seth. That's crazy.
There's such venom in that delivery.
She just admitted it.
Seth.
And then he pulls a walkie-talkie out of his pocket and says, that walkie-talkie man. Moving in. No, he says, remove the Glasgow block now.
Which was Glasgow was one of the, remember when they broke into the security office the first season, there was all those like the beehive, the whatever. Glasgow was one of them.
Oh, nice.
And
Steve,
Joey in the Discord, because we kind of asked, like, I wonder what that's about. Joey had said, oh, I wonder if it's in reference to the Glasgow coma scale, which is a scale to assess the severity of a person's consciousness level after a head injury. And so it seems like that's the case because they're putting some sort of block on Helena. I guess while everyone else is severed, she isn't getting severed.
Right.
Okay, Joey.
And by the way, so the ding happens while Helly's in the freezing cold water.
It's so fucking
Oh
cool
my
looking.
God, though. But imagine, like the last thing you remember was leaving work and getting in an elevator, and then you wake being drowned.
So
Fuck,
if we haven't seen her at all,
the last thing you remember
she
is
was
her
on
at the
stage.
gala.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, she needs to be way caught up on things. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Where the fuck are we?
That would be so scary to just wake up. You know when you dream that you're falling? Or you ever fall off your bed a little drunk and that's how you wake up?
I've done that before, yeah.
But imagine that, but in water.
Yeah, that'd be
But also
worse.
way worse. It's
Yeah,
not even
way worse. Way worse.
Yeah. Anyway. But Mark runs up and puts his coat around her and like,
Irving's like, sorry, kiddo.
oh God, it's so heartbreaking because that's his real friend right now, right? You have threatened collegial murder in the pond of Woes Hollow.
B, stand.
For this, there can be no penalty but immediate and permanent dismissal. There shall be no formal valediction, catered or otherwise.
Dylan's just standing up with that. I'm really sorry.
Oh, he's so sorry to his friend Irving because he didn't believe him. He's supposed to back him up. It's okay, Dylan.
Just hang in there, like the poster you're on.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. But Irving's fired, which is in effect killing him, right? Dylan's yelling he's sorry. It will be as if you, Irving B., never even existed. May Kier's mercy follow you into the eternal dark.
And they make him walk into the woods, and then he gets the longest dolly zoom we've gotten so far. Like it's really stretching the background and his face a bit. It's such a neat shot. And then it cuts to dark. I don't think we get the elevator ding. I think it just cuts to dark.
Ding.
The Milchick's line to him though is like echoing exactly what Irving said about Bert when they were retiring him. He's like, kill him as if he had never existed. And so if this is some sort of weird down deep dream sequence type thing, then that would be like his subconscious bringing that shit back.
Interesting. Well, that brings us to our Kier's 3 mandates. But before we get into that, one more quick break to hear from one of our sponsors.
Hello, Stream Fiends, and a frosty welcome to the month of January. It's the start of a brand new year, and as we all set our resolutions and snuggle up to beat the chill, we want to take a moment to warm up our hearts by thanking the stars of our show, you, the listeners. Specifically, we want to give a super shout out to our super patrons who keep the heat on over here at the studio, and I much appreciate that because it's cold over here right now. So let's raise a hot cup of cocoa to our January heroes. Aubrey Carell, Daniel Pack, Nice Guy Eddie, Tulloon, Albus Stinkpot, Maddlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Jim X, Lady Trashley, Milady, Sean Myers, Just Liz Calabria, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, E. Scramo, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bloffpum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Big Butthorn, Jer Latanowicz, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elbander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, Stanton Valentino, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving Mortal, Suzanne Road, Jadinklage Morgoon, Kloop, Kalisha Reeves, Paula Garcia, Brenda, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Thrift Creeper, Casey McCain, and of course, Enza. But again, thank you to all our supporters. Thank you for being our Winter Wonderland warriors. Your support makes every episode a snowtop peak we're thrilled to conquer. But enough cheese. Let's get back to the episode.
And we're back.
Hey! I hope those were good ads.
Those were. I bet they were. I have a good feeling. But now it's time for our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. Andy, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Milchick's story time with Wong playing the theremin. It's just so fucking weird and funny, and like it's so off-putting and bizarre for her to have had all these copious luxury meats and a theremin and custom marshmallows and this whole sequence. I'm just like, what is this? But it's so fucking weird and awesome. And I just had a good time with it.
Love it. Steve?
My number 3 is Irving at his desk, the dream sequence. Because it's really, really neat. I love the setting, how the forest looks bombed out and scary. And you got creepy little Woe typing around like, hey, what's up? I think she's sitting in Helly's spot too, which is kind of another indication that he can't trust Helly. But just the whole like the screen and you like the numbers become letters and then they also kind of form shapes. I think at one point you see like a big eye kind of show up on the monitor in the form of the numbers and letters. Yeah, it's like bring me the ring. But it's really cool in an episode that's very, very surreal to have this surreal moment that I think works on all levels.
Agreed. My number 3 is Helly's post-nut clarity. That scene where they're kind of post-coitus sitting there and it seems like she's about to confess and we're 50-50 on whether or not it's Helena or Helly. And she seems to be earnest. Like, I don't like who I am out there. I was ashamed. Which in context of Helena is even more poignant because she doesn't like who she is in general, right? Her actual life. And then Mark's earnest, doesn't matter. It only matters who you are down here. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was very touching, not as touching in retrospect, a little more rapey actually, but it was just it's a really illuminating scene from Mark's character.
But even if yes, very rapey.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that say about Outie Helena if she's being honest in that moment? Like, I don't like who I am out there.
Yeah, she could be a mole for
I'd
the other
rather
side.
be in here with you guys because you guys seem like fun and you actually care about each other.
You guys are my only friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why, I assume that's why she snuck down there, not to be a mole, but just she has the authority to make them let her experience that, because it looked like she was intrigued by the love that Helly and Mark were sharing on the camera footage. And I assume that's why she's down there. It's just to kind of to milk on that. Wow. That's my number 3. Andy, you're number 2.
Well, also real quick, I just wanted to say that like this drama that's going to unfold from this, Helly having slept with Mark without ever physically or emotionally being a part of it, that's a drama that only the show can do. You know what I mean?
You cheated on me with my Outie?
Yeah,
who
exactly.
I hate.
I hate that
And
bitch.
also, you're married.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's like super double triple
Wait,
weird.
you're married?
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't know that.
Let's not even get into
True.
mammalian
Shouldn't know
nurturable.
My number 2 is Irv's dream sequence. Just love a good horror little snippet inside of a show, and it was creepy, it was weird, it was fun. Bert, like, we're happy to see Bert, but in the context of him like being in the bombed out foresty area and like sliding down the divider and stuff, it's like, whoa,
You dog.
what's going on here? I don't know. It's just a fun sequence.
What did you think about what Woe looked like? We kind of didn't really talk much about little Woe.
It's like a ghastly woman, half the size of a normal woman or something.
Yeah. I think she's terrifying. I think it's really in like a classic kind of Edgar Allan Poe kind of way,
I see what you did, Laura.
I like that.
Very
I like
good.
it.
Steve, what about your number 2?
My number 2 is the very first scene, Irv waking up on the ice. Just because it's a really great.
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, it's really funny, just the way they play it off, and also it's a big. Before we get into the insanity that is the episode, it is a captivating way to start your episode, to be like, whoa, what?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? What's going on? And then the humor's there. Like, I have no fucking idea. I just really, really enjoy that. And it kind of just tells you you're in for a ride. There's going to be some new shit going on this episode. Get ready.
My number 2 is Andy's number 2, the Woe Bride.
Whoa.
I thought it was a great little horror sequence. It's not the first horror sequence we've gotten in the show, but it's the most like, oh, there's a monster now.
Overtly horror.
Yeah. The rest is just kind of like dread, and I thought it was so fucking awesome. I wish they would do more of it. I loved it so much. It's beautifully shot. And I didn't even have any of that deep ass analysis that Steve just dropped on us for it. I was just like, neat, man.
Pretty cool.
It is
spooky.
interesting that you said it the way you said it, though, because as I was typing, I was like, ooh, the numbers are swirling. And then I noticed letters and had to backspace and go, letters and numbers. But maybe they had been only numbers at first, which is why I said that.
They were, yeah.
And I just kind of questioned myself and didn't look deeper into it.
Yeah, it was a normal screen with only those 4 numbers on it. Then it became a mixture of all of them, and then it was just letters and the number 0 as well. It was like, I think maybe a 0 and 1, so like binary was in there, but then those letters show up as well.
The Matrix.
Yes, the Matrix.
Not
Irving
like
wakes up and he's like, I know Kung Fu now.
That would be so awesome. I wouldn't even care. I'd be N.
He does that like hand gesture thing that he does to Morpheus.
Come on, motherfucker. Beats the shit out of Huang.
Miss Huang is the first person Irving is going to go after if he knows
For
Kung Fu.
sure.
No fucking spoon.
But what if she fights back and we get some awesome, I don't know. I'm down. Where are we at? What did I just do to the show?
You did your number 2. So
Okay.
now we're on my number
Andy,
1. Yes.
Your favorite moment of episode
What
4.
did I do to the show?
My favorite moment is Irv confronting Helly and almost drowning her and stuff, especially that shot of her turning back underwater. It's just bizarre and awesome. And like, we've seen the dolly zoom 100,000 times in this show at this point. It's like you think they've played it out, but then they do something like this. I'm like, oh, you can still have fun with this. I love it.
That's my number 1 favorite moment as well. I mean, again, like this episode in the vacuum, I'm like really unsure about it, and I'm gonna have to marinate on my thoughts about it and see where the story goes from here to really kind of settle on how I feel about this episode. But this scene fucking rocks. It's a really awesome scene. The crescendo of the dolly zoom underwater is beautifully done. John Turturro's acting and Tremel Tillman's acting in the scene against each other are like incredibly powerful, and you feel the spite, because Irving has lost his love in Bert, and he was the most devout of all of them, and he's the most scorned as well. So hell hath no fury like an Irving scorned. And just leading all the way up to the big dramatic, Irving being turned off, as it were, but that really long dolly zoo for him and the way the episode ends is just like, whew. This was the hardest one to not like, ooh, can I get away with watching the next episode and the boys won't know? But I didn't. But I did. I would be lying if I said the thought didn't cross my mind. But I too was tempted. That scene was very, very great.
I wasn't tempted.
You weren't?
I'm a good person.
He's already watched it.
I was too busy in the OnlyFiends Discord. No, I had too much other stuff to watch. My number one is the same moment. I mean, who could pick another moment? One of the all-timer moments of this show, I think, that scene.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I can't say anything about it that you guys haven't already said. And I'm very curious where the fuck this goes for sure. But first, we have to nominate a Waffle Party recipient, our favorite performance of the episode. Andy, to whom do you gift your waffle party?
John Turturro, for sure. Right? I mean, we all everybody it.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, we are.
We all everybody. John Turturro?
I didn't know. I think you could very understandably give a waffle party to Britt Lauer here.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, it is John Turturro that has my heart second. Always and forever. We all everybody.
We all everybody. No, he's phenomenal. He's always been phenomenal in this show. And this episode, because he usually plays characters in like Coen brother movies that like have a little bit of a fire or like a dangerousness to them. And Irving is pretty like, hello, I'm kind of tweety, and he's kind of playing against his normal type. And so to see the full John Turturro just kind of like fire out of him is good to see.
I'm the Jesus, man.
What he said.
Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
All right. We all everybody on John Turturro. Tune in next Friday
before that.
Oh, no.
I've got a gift for you guys.
Oh, shit.
You did such a great job last week hosting, Andy.
Thanks, man.
Kit, I know your time in out west was a little rough. So I think
you almost shit your pants, but you didn't.
You didn't. And that needs to be applauded. So you have earned a wellness session.
Oh, no.
So let me turn on the nature sounds. Let me get the diffuser on. And let me share some facts about your Outies. They are truly remarkable people. These facts should bring you great satisfaction. But just relax. Stay open and try to appreciate each fact equally. And these facts are for your enjoyment and must remain in this room. Who would like to get their facts first?
Dibs.
Ooh, Andy, you want to go first?
Yes.
All right. Andy, your Outie owns a perfect skipping stone, but has never used it. Your Outie received a standing ovation for a karaoke performance. Your Outie avoids stepping on sidewalk cracks as a personal principle. Your Outie has a framed photo of a rainbow they once captured on film. And lastly, your Outie is frequently complimented on their impeccable posture.
Oh, gee. Okay.
So that's how we can tell the difference between any Andy and Outie Andy is the posture.
Oh, this little thing?
Kit, it's been a couple weeks. Are you ready for your wellness session?
I am.
Your Outie has a collection of postcards from places they have never visited. Your Outie has been called a human compass for their sense of direction. Your Outie has a secret talent for shadow puppets. Your Outie can recite the first 20 digits of pi, but does so sparingly. And lastly, your Outie can tell you the weather by looking at the sky. There you go. Wow. Your Outie is a truly remarkable person.
It's raining.
Check this out.
Oh, he's doing shadow puppets right now. Oh my God, he's doing the dog.
Thank you so much for that wellness session. I badly needed that. Thank you to everyone for listening to the show. Don't forget at patreon.com/streamingthings, you can listen to our coverage of Game of Thrones, of Arcane, of all kinds of movies and other sundry pleasures and delights. But that's all the time we have right now. We must go return these videotapes. My name is Kit.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Streaming Things, streaming Severance.
Happy streaming.
I was at the Sundance Film Festival and I had a miserable time and it was pointless for me to go and I should not have gone.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
So I wanted to tell you guys a story. So I was kind of sick the whole time that I was there. Mm-hmm. I always get homesick, but I was sick this time and had some other, actually multiple issues going on. But primarily, or most relevant to this story, was like a stomach bug that I had. I don't know if it was from the traveling itself or it was an actual virus of some sort. I don't know. But I found myself a little gurgly in the belly, right? So and the movies I was watching were dog shit too. So it was like, oh man, this sucks, right? Want to be back home, want to be on the pod with my boys. My boys.
Pooping your pants in a shitty movie.
I've been watching a lot of online as well. And you really jumped the shark there. I've been watching a bunch since I got home that are actually really good.
Oh, wait, I forgot about the story that you're telling me.
So the culmination of my experience at Sundance is basically this. It was the 5th movie that I went to see. And I go out, and this is the actual premiere theater, not the press theater. I actually stand in line for like an hour and a half. I met some like Lionsgate acquisitions people, and they were cool. They were really nice. So I was actually like trying to cheer myself up, like, do this, dude. You're out here. People would kill to be here. Try to enjoy this. Quit being a bitch. So I like pushed myself to go and like actually talk to people. And I'm like, you know, who cares about the migraines and the rashes and the gurgly belly? Like, it's going to be, this is why we're here. The theater is called the Eccles Theater. And it's an old theater. It seats about 1,200 people, but it's so old that there's no stadium seating or anything. It's like just like a slight slope to the floor, and there's like little chairs, right, bolted to the floor. And the chairs, I'm a 6'2", 220. So my knees are touching the seat in front of me. Like once you're in, you're in. And each row is about 400 chairs, and there's only an exit to each row on either side. There's no like lane down the middle to break it up a little bit. So I'm seated in the center. So if I want to get up, I have to pass either 162 chairs or 237. Like there's no, right? And so I have to shit because I have a stomach virus and I'm like 40 minutes into this movie that I do not like. And it's like, and it keeps feeling like a kettlebell is dropping in just the center of my gut. And I'm squirming and I want to fart. But A, that's rude because I'm so close to so many strangers. And B, I don't know if it's a fart.
You can't trust this one.
Can't trust it, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm in so much discomfort and pain. Keep in mind, this is the like, push through it, man. Go enjoy the movie. And that's why I'm sitting there, is because I decided to have that good attitude. And that's how I got in this precarious situation, because I had laid in the hotel room. Yeah.
I hope you learned your lesson.
Like, you paid thousands of dollars to come here and abandoned your family, watch the movies and shit your pants. Don't just lay in the hotel room. So cool. So anyway, I eventually, I'm the type of person, I don't get up to pee. Like I will, you know what I mean? Like really,
you'll piss your pants.
I'll have bladder damage before I'll like miss 2 minutes of a movie. That's typically how I am. So it pains me greatly on an emotional level to make this decision, but I'm like in physical pain. But also there's like the social anxiety of it all, because as I pointed out at the top of this story, it's a long walk to get out of this situation I'm in. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I gotta do it. And I'm gurgle belling. I stand up. I've got my coat because it's Utah. It's fucking Mormonsville. So it's like cold as shit. So I stand up. I got this big winter coat. I'm knocking 160 people in the back of the head with my left elbow. and I'm stepping on 160 people's feet and knocking their knees with my right leg.
Spilling their drinks they got on the floor.
Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm just passing through.
Passing gas?
Sorry. Sorry. Oh my God, just kill me.
You had
Shoot
the,
me in the fucking face. I did.
Oh, that's great.
I did. I was actively about to shit myself, but also just there's no room to navigate these seats. So you're like, you're putting your hand down. It's pitch black. So you're putting your hand down to like grab an armrest to get the fulcrum or whatever to be able to step over the leg. And then you're accidentally grabbing an arm. You know what I mean?
And then you fart on them.
Yeah. And then,
honey, did Get Laser just drop dust us?
And so I make it out of there. I go into this. For the size of this theater, the bathroom is only 2 urinals and 2 stalls.
Oh, yeah, it's an old school theater, so it's tiny.
And so
I know exactly what you mean.
I get in there and it's nasty, you know what I mean? I'm trying to like lace the toilet is what they call them, like laying some toilet paper on top of the seat and stuff to put my cheeks on, but I'm like, photo finish. And I got my winter coat and then like a hoodie and then, you know what I mean? So many layers that this is awful.
Throw that shit on the floor.
So then I just proceed to just blow this place up for a half an hour.
You commit a brown crime.
People coming in and I'm just like in this strange state, this part of the country I would never choose to go to. Don't worry, I live in one you would never choose to go to, but it's just that's mine, you know? And none of my friends or family are nearby. And I'm just like,
I love how that's the moment where you're like, I'm going to go home early.
I booked a flight home 3 days early that night. I was like, fuck this. I tried to do the mature thing and like, just be grateful, push through it, have a good time. And this is what I got. I almost shit my pants at Sundance. That's the thanks I get for trying to push through this misery.
One day you gotta, I'm not saying you need to do this on air, but you need to tell me what the movie was that you experienced this with so that movie will always be connected in my brain.
You will never watch this movie.
Oh.
That's the thing about Sundance. A lot of these movies might not even get distributed, right?
That's true.
This one probably will. It's called You're Gonna Die when you hear the title of this movie. I'm just now realizing. It's called Bubble and Squeak.
Oh my God. Go see Bubble and Squeak. And just have a picture of a Kit Laser about to just blow up a theater.
What are the odds?
Wow, Bubble. Well, you were definitely bubbling and squeaking for sure.
I was.
We need your fucking like quote on the box art for it. I shit my pants.
This movie made me shit my pants.
An absolute masterpiece. One of the best films of the last 20 years. I shit my pants.
Shit my pants.
I'm thinking about writing an article at kitlaser.com. I want to see what you guys think, but I was just going to call it I Almost Shit My Pants at Sundance.
Yes.
And then the subtitle.
Full stop, yes.
Okay. And I
just for that headline alone.
This is going to be my press reporting of the festival. Because I only watched 5 movies. And I think I watched 6 more on the online function when I got home, but it was just a complete disaster. Not Sundance's fault that kind of stuff happened. But yeah, so that was what I was doing while you guys were talking. That was literally the day you were recording.
Nice.
No, it wasn't. It was Saturday because I flew home on the Sunday night. So anyway.
It was so funny because I knew you were having a rough time out there because you would text me a couple times. But I didn't know you came home early. Like you didn't tell me that you were coming home. So I'm texting you on like Tuesday, like, hey man, when you get home, I hope you're doing okay. But we could do it. And you're like, oh, I'm already home. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I got home Sunday night. I wasn't supposed to get home till Wednesday. Yeah, I paid extra money to move the flights. And I was like, get me the fuck out of here, dude. So yeah, that was the whole thing. But I'm back now.
He's back.